Hello, this is Marvel Matt from the Comic Time Show. Today we're going to talk about Black Panther, and particularly the teaser from the film that is coming out. The teaser came out this weekend. I've watched it probably about 50 times, trying to break down all the different parts and things that are hidden in it. The one thing you can see that's really apparent in the film that just strikes you immediately is there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of characters. All of Black Panther's country of Wakanda has been built. So we have a lot to talk about, and I want to break down what I want to talk about into three things. I want to talk about the difference in Black Panther as opposed to the other Marvel origin films. This is going to be a very different film. Just the formula is going to be different right off the bat than these other movies. The other thing I want to talk about is all the characters that were packed into this thing. It's a stunning amount of characters, and all played by great actors. And then I want to talk about Wakanda itself and how it's being built up and why it's going to be so cool to see it on film. 1, 2, 3. So getting started, number one. Marvel is kind of has a formula that, going back to Iron Man, Hulk, Doctor Strange, you kind of have this ordinary guy who then kind of goes into the land of the mystical or superhuman, doesn't know if he wants to be a hero, and then all of a sudden does want to become a hero. We've seen this play out in multiple films. This origin hero story type of thing. But why Black Panther is going to be different is because Black Panther's been kind of built up, and not just Black Panther himself has been built up, but even his villains have been partially built up by previous films. So Wakanda, the country that Black Panther is the ruler of, has been shown on numerous maps, going in Iron Man, and I think Iron Man 2, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have always kind of highlighted this little point in Africa that's about where Wakanda is. So it's been kind of hinted at that way for a while. Then Age of Ultron introduces the metal vibranium. It introduces Ulysses Klaw, one of the primary villains of the Black Panther. And Ultron has a meeting with him and rips off his arm and steals a whole bunch of his vibranium to help build the weapon that he planned, his kind of doomsday device weapon. So all of that is happening in Avengers Age of Ultron. Presumably that's all happening during the reign of T'Chaka, T'Challa's father. Then you have Captain America Civil War, where T'Chaka himself is actually killed by Zemo, and T'Challa dons the Black Panther suit and his mantle and goes after Bucky, who he assumes kills his father. So all of that, and then T'Challa is there all the way through the very end of that film, and is introduced. Also, his Dora Milaje, his female bodyguards, they are also shown. They are also introduced. So all these characters are already introduced, already built up. The primary character then that needs to be built up in this film is not the Black Panther himself. He's already been introduced. His villain has already been introduced. But what needs to be introduced is actually his country, his world, which is a really spectacular place that we'll get to, called Wakanda. And one of the things they're going to do, because of all this introduction's already been made, they're going to introduce a lot of characters. You're not just going to get a one-and-done villain in this film. You're going to get lots of potential villains, lots of potential friends. It's going to be a lot of characters that they're going to throw at this film. You can see a few of the villains you can see really well. Andy Serkis, who plays Ulysses S. Klaw, he kind of does some of the narration where he compares Wakanda to the golden city of El Dorado. One thing I wanted to look at is, I think El Dorado is a Disney film, and I was going to go look at that. This would be the second time I've seen in a teaser that a Disney film has kind of been snuck into a teaser trailer like that. The other one was Pinocchio with Age of Ultron. But anyway, so you have Andy Serkis doing the narration. He's being interviewed by the Everett Ross, the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, and T'Challa, and his, I think, Io, who is Florence Kasumba, his kind of female, one of his female bodyguards, the Dora Milaje, is watching on. So he's definitely there. He's definitely introduced. You also see him kind of in different garb, looking like he's doing some sort of heist in different series. You also see M'Baku, who is Man-Ape, played by Winston Duke. You see him show up. He's also been confirmed to show up in Avengers Infinity War 2, so he's going to be important. He's going to survive this movie. I don't think he's going to be the primary villain in this movie, but he will show up. You see Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. I think he's going to be the primary villain, actually, of this film, him and Klaw. You see him don kind of a African tribal mask and blow up a wall. He appears to be freeing Klaw. You see him another time just kind of wearing kind of this crazy, just almost like a high-tech outfit, as a bunch of people are standing in a room. He looks really cool. In both of his outfits, I thought he looked really awesome. I can't wait to see what he does there. You see Io is definitely there. You see a whole bunch of the Dora Milaje. I think there's at least 4 of them that all have names. Io herself actually ends up betraying Black Panther in the comics and kind of joins up with another female Dora Milaje called, and they kind of call themselves the Midnight Angels. So already we've already mentioned like 4 potential villains that are introduced here. Angela Bassett, who is playing Ramonda, is in there. Shuri is there, who is T'Challa's sister and also becomes a Black Panther at one point. Just a heap load of characters, all played by great characters. Forrest Whitaker also plays a character here, right? I mean, it's like, oh my gosh, there's going to be so many characters. It's going to be nuts. So it's very exciting. They're not like just saying, oh, we're going to introduce one villain and that villain's going to die. No. They're introducing like everybody who lives in this country who is anybody, and they may turn into a villain later. They may have some other part to play later. That's how this is being done. So really just interesting. And then to the final point, let's talk about Wakanda. And that's like the most striking thing is I kind of wonder, are they going to do Wakanda right? Wakanda is such an interesting, cool place. You know, you have this African tribal country that then gets this mysterious metal that can both absorb energy and release energy. And they begin to learn its properties, and their science begins to propel itself much faster and goes beyond anything else in the world, in part due to the amount of vibranium there, in part due to their good leadership. And you get this almost schism within the country of the new versus the old. And you see that you have these tribalistic governments that all roll up into a monarchy. Kind of just that's very kind of in some sense old school. And you have these cults. You have the Panther god of Bast. You also have the white gorilla cult, which is what M'Baku comes from. And you have a bunch of these different sects. And then you have this extremely high-tech Wakanda, and these massive skyscraper cities where you have these different types of flying machines that are kind of like airplanes, but they're kind of different. They resemble more like birds, where the Wakandans have built up this technology to kind of mimic the flight of a bird. You also have stuff that's mentioned in the comics that you should watch out for, called like Kimoyo. They always had the Kimoyo card and the Kimoyo beads, which were recently introduced. And the beads are kind of like these little devices that the Wakandans wear like around their wrist. It's like lights up with like a little holographic display that they can use. They can call people. They can get data off it. And the more beads someone has, the more they have connected into it. You know, old person might have like 2 beads, you know, who's not doing anything, but then like some like kid who's like in the high-tech field might have like 20, and each bead kind of does something else. Might give him access to his business or his company. One of them might do that. One of them might store data. They all do different things. That's the Kimoyo beads. high-tech stuff that no one else has. And that was kind of all been set in motion. A lot of the stuff has been around for a while, almost since the beginning, but it's continued to update as our own technology began to update. Writers and artists have continually pushed the pace of Wakanda to be kind of ahead and be very futurist. Another thing you'll notice, just generally when you look at Wakanda, is you'll notice you'll see lots of like curved rooms, which is common in Africa architecture. You'll see elements of the Maasai. You'll see elements of the Zulu. Kind of these other kind of major African tribes. You'll see all this stuff kind of built in. They want this to feel like Africa, and I think so far, just I mean, this is a very short glance with what you get in the teaser trailer, but it looks really cool. It looks right. It looks like something different, and it looks like they're not squandering this opportunity to do something very cool. So that's my three things. Really excited, really pumped. I will also say, some people have said, there's no Black Panther stories out there that are any good. And I just kind of like roll my eyes like, oh my God, what planet are you living on? So I just want to recommend a couple things. The very first Black Panther series, which was done by McGregor and Jack Kirby. Yes, that's right, Jack Kirby, the iconic Marvel artist, is very good. If you can find it, that's awesome. The Christopher Priest Black Panther stories are all amazing. That's what I kind of grew up on. They're really cool. I highly recommend checking those out. And then there was a really great story that just came out. I think it's actually still ongoing, but it's by Ta-Nehisi Coates, A Nation Under Our Feet. And that's also phenomenal, and you should check it out as well. There's definitely no shortage of Black Panther stories. There's not always a Black Panther story on the shelf, but when there is, it's normally good. So definitely check it out. There's definitely some good stuff out there. This is Marvel Matt. I hope you are as excited for Black Panther as I am, and you can expect to hear some more updates as we get more information about Black Panther coming out. That's it. Talk to you later. Please comment below.